Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox All In channel host Sega Forever here. I know I'm a little bit behind on these podcasts, but I'm bringing it back or back up to date. Sorry, that's just the feedback. I'm just making sure that the video is playing on my channel since this is live, and since it is live, I do apologize, guys. As you can hear, all the background noise. It's a busy morning already where I live. I know I do this every time, but I just wanted to let you guys know in case anybody comes by. I'm wondering what's up. What's the deal with the background noise? Look, dude, I don't have like a professional studio. I'm just doing this on my computer. Um, where I live, dude, is very crowded. A lot of people around. A lot of people like to do stuff early in the morning. This is why I like to do the podcast now. It's the only time I really have to do it. And I know I'm a little bit behind, like I said, and that's why I'm going to play a little bit of catch up this week because there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. Unfortunately, most of it will be outside of the realm of Xbox. I know Xbox has I believe we have a indie showcase or something coming up. I don't know if it's this week or this upcoming week or the end of the month. To be honest with you, Xbox has been kind of quiet for me. I haven't seen much announced. I see a lot of people talking. I see a lot of Xbox guys talking. And since this is a pop culture podcast, it's the politics of pop culture podcast, but you know, gaming falls into that realm. And I just wanted to address this. I see a lot of people talking about the PlayStation stuff. Look, guys, I'm not a PlayStation guy. You guys know that if you're on my channel, I don't really care a lot about what happens with PlayStation. But it is what it is. I know they have some kind of showcase. Uh, a lot of mixed signals, mixed bag from some of the responses on both sides that people are talking about. So, because a lot of the people that I follow, I might follow them for a specific reason. Like maybe I'm interested in their commentary on movies. Like for example, just checked out this YouTuber called Justabel. I think I've heard her name, like I've seen people reference her before, but it's the first time I actually watched one of her videos, and it was really good because it was the video on Captain America Brave New World, the new Marvel movie that's releasing this week, and a lot of negative reviews on the movie. Um, not surprising to me, man. I told you guys that I've kind of dipped out when it comes to Marvel. You know, hold on, let me see. I'm getting a. I mean, I've dipped out with Marvel and even Disney. Unless my kids want to do something, like maybe they want to watch a movie out of interest. But the sad thing with my kids is that they're not like fans. It's just like something to hear about, or maybe a friend talked about it, or maybe they're just interested, but they're not following it on the level that they used to when they were younger, and they've gotten older too, right? Um, I tell you guys all the time. That's why I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z fan or a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, at least of the cartoons. I know more about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the original Eastman Laird because that was such a big thing when they hit. But as far as the '90s cartoons, like there's this period in the '90s where I was going from teenager to young adult, right? And there's other stuff occupying my time occupying my times besides watching cartoons and for a little bit playing video games. Thank God we had Sega. Dude. Sega actually kept me in tune with games. In fact, when I was in the Navy, I actually I bought the new Genesis. The Sega man was here. He could tell me. He could clear it up for me because I know he probably has it. And because I was on my first duty station, man, I didn't have any of my video games with me. I went to the Navy Exchange. They had a sale on the Sega Genesis. Came with the Sonic the Hedgehog, and then I'm buying another one. Bought that one so I have something to do in the barracks. Um, and I was still doing comic books at the time, but even Marvel was in transition. They went through that they were going through that bankruptcy phase for the company. So anyway, it was a tumultuous time for me. So I kind of stepped away from pop culture in that sense and kind of indulged myself in other areas of pop culture, especially at the age that I was. And look, to be honest with you, man, there's trying to get a career, trying to do my military thing on top of that girls. So as anybody of that age would tell you, hanging out with friends and doing stuff like that, working out more, all of that, right? So you got all that stuff going on, which is interesting. Again, this is why I'm doing this podcast, right? It's going to encompass a lot of things within pop culture that some of you guys might be interested in, but it's definitely going to be a political tinge. That's why I'm calling it the Politics of Pop Culture podcast, so you guys have a heads up. Because I know some of you dudes don't like the political side of all this kind of stuff, but it is what it is, man. Right? It's something that's interesting to me. Again, like I say on my channel, something that I follow closely. In fact, that's why I haven't been able to do a lot of the political podcasts that I wanted to do, or do videos on all the politics that's going around. Because it's just, like I said last video, man, there's just so much stuff going on, not just in the country, but in the world. And it's nonstop. It's just a constant stream. And it's hard to keep up, right? I don't want to just do videos just to do videos. There's a couple I can, just because I could do reactions on that. But even that, I had a hard time doing, because I was kind of busy this week too. Um, but part and parcel, like I told you guys last time as well, I don't just want to, I kind of want to research some of this stuff. It's one thing to give an opinion, it's another thing to share stuff, where you have to kind of be factual. And again, if everything's in flux, that's a bit hard. Plus, I've been enjoying it as well. I mean, I'm not just a person that's just going out there looking at stuff. This stuff is interesting to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell you guys all the time, you're living history right now. And some of this stuff happens, especially with the current president in charge. I mean, they're making a lot of changes. You guys have been keeping up with all the stuff that's going on with Doge, the way that they're looking at the government, especially the spending aspect, which people like myself who's been doing this for a long time, been looking at this stuff for a long time, not surprised at all. Um, Maybe not all in on the details, and so that's interesting to me, like looking at the fine print of everything, right? But if you like when people tell me stuff that the government's doing this or that we're wasting money on that I'm not surprised at it. The interesting to me is like what they're doing, how they did it, what's going to be the ramifications, how are we going to correct it. That's what I'm looking at right now with all the stuff that's going on, right? And I still want to do the commentary on it, man. Shout out to all the guys out there that do all the heavy lifting. I try not to lift other people's stuff, um, because I don't think that's appropriate. But I will give commentary on some people that I think you should possibly, and I'll let you guys know who should be possibly following. Now, when it comes to pop culture, and especially on the political side of pop culture, because, and I know a lot of people are like, why do you have to talk about it that way? It's just the reality, dude, right? And for somebody that's me, that's hyper focused on it, right? It's hard for me to step away from that because I see it all the time and everything. This is why it's better for me a lot of times just to step away from it, um, and not get involved with the pop culture, right? Because I can tell what they're doing. I mean, it's so invasive that I just can't help but see it. And so, it's one of the reasons why I decided to do this podcast, man. So I could just talk about it because I do find that it's interesting, or at least I can enjoy it in that way. And what I mean by that is in the way of looking at it and then trying to at least get something out of it, trying to consume it from that perspective. Because if not, dude, I would just and I'll be honest with you, I just walked away from a lot of this stuff, dude, because it's not interesting. It's actually anti to the thing that they're supposed to be doing as far as these studios and these big businesses. They're supposed to be providing us with entertainment, and they're basically giving us indoctrination. And for somebody like me that won't fall for it, I just can't enjoy it. So it's just best for me to step away. But again, if you guys want to find a pretty good podcaster out there that knows her stuff, and as well as commentary on the current events and stuff like that. And the great thing about her is just like I watched Tyrone Magnus, who's kind of politically charged, but one of the good things about Tyrone Magnus as well as this commentator, because they're actually Tyrone Magnus does reactions and stuff like that. And just about from what I see, she's actually a movie critic, and she actually works in production and stuff like that. So go check them out, man, because you get a perspective of them from them that's not totally politically charged. Now, in the case of Tyrone Magnus, I can see that he's more politically active than he was, but at his core, man, he just wants to be entertained, and I can respect that. And that's why I think it's good that you follow people that are like that, right? I'm already cooked. I'm already plugged into all this stuff, dude. So that's why I watch other people, right? Because you can't be plugged in 24/7, dude. You go nuts, right? And it's always great to get a refreshing perspective. Yeah. So, like for me personally, the reason I watched the Just a Bell videos because she did a great It's a bit long. It's about 27 minutes, but she basically breaks down the Captain America, the new Captain America movie. Now, for somebody like me who's been doing this for a long time, dude, I know the Falcon character, man. He's one of my favorite um, B list superheroes in the Marvel Cinematic or in the Marvel Comics universe, not the cinematic universe. Um, so it's hard for me, right? A lot of times to deal with some of the changes that they're making because it goes against comic books and the characters the way that I've enjoyed them, and I understand that, dude. I totally understand that, dude. I'm older. I'm from a different time, and of comic book reading and comic book collecting, so I keep that in mind, dude. But but I mean, just to be fair, man, I mean, it's just better for me to walk away, right? Instead of watching this stuff and dealing with it on that level. But she does a good breakdown of the movie, and one of the things I love about it is because she's coming from a perspective as a fan. Right? You can tell she's a fan, dude. She referenced her family that they went to watch it together. They're hoping that Marvel will turn stuff around. You know, a lot of this stuff that Marvel's doing doesn't have to deal with politics, man. A lot of people that are fans just want to have like a good story to kind of recapture the magic of phases 1, 2, and 3. You know, which is ironic, right? Because it's like it's Captain America: Brave New World. We'll focus on this a little bit. It seems to be coming full circle. I know a lot of you guys won't remember this, and because it's something that stood out to me when Marvel first started doing their movies. The press absolutely hated them, right? The press, and I'm talking about the press, the proper press, right? Like whether it's in Hollywood or mainstream, right? So Hollywood will come in, right? They're looking at these movies like they're fantasy, they're not worthy of getting the attention. You should be watching all the Oscar nominated stuff. You have that Hollywood media, right? And then the mainstream media picks up on it, right? If you guys didn't know this about media, right, they just feed off of each other, right? That's why everything is kind of samey. Everything sounds the same. They all got the same message. They're all of one accord. And so that was happening in the beginning. And that changed right around um, when Avengers came out, right? It was such a big deal. It was such a cultural shift that the media had to start covering it. But you still had those people that were hanging on and trying to, take, like, look, these guys are highbrow, they're high art, right? They watch movies that none of us would care to watch. They watch those movies that get awards but don't make no box office. And there's nothing wrong with that, guys, because I love movies too. I consume a lot of different content. Again, why I'm doing this podcast, and so I can wear multiple hats when it comes to this. Some of my favorite movies are movies that people that don't do well at the box office, that most people don't like. I sit here and talk about K dramas all the time, and I've been watching K dramas way before it was popular. So my point being that a lot of these guys, they just had a certain way of consuming the content, especially when it came to movies, and they didn't want the hoi polloi, right? The average moviegoer to have a say in that, but they couldn't stop it, dude. Avengers was such a big hit, and then what turned a lot of the critics. Well, two things happened, right? A lot of the people that come into media because everything was shifting, everything was going online. Influencers, people were speaking to a younger audience, and the younger audience was picking up on this stuff, so they had to adjust. And then the second thing that happened was the Winter Soldier. When the Winter Soldier came, it was palpable enough for a lot of these critics to kind of like change their mind about it. And then by that time, it was too late. It was just a force of nature, and to the chagrin of some Marvel fans, I mean, like I'll be honest, like myself, right? I mean, I understood that it was no longer for that demographic that love reading the comic books. Um, for somebody like me, anyway, it wasn't for the purist, and I put myself in that category. Because there's a lot of stuff they do with the Marvel movies that are not based on the comic books. The difference with then and now, though, is that at least back then they made it entertaining, or they made it make sense, or they tried to do the heavy lifting to get you on board. Like they were making content for everybody. The old guy like me, my kids at the time who were younger, that enjoyed the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that grew up with it, that grew up with it and grew up in it. Okay, and so they were trying to do something for everybody, right? Especially when Disney picked them up, and that's a very Disney thing, right? So I was enjoying it. If I wasn't going to be able to enjoy it from the comic book perspective, at least I was able to enjoy it in those terms, and especially with my kids growing up and they're carrying on the mantle, or so at least I thought when it comes to Marvel. But that's not the same Marvel. Marvel is nowhere near the same thing as they once were. In fact, the interesting thing about the stuff that they're making now, it made me appreciate phases one, two, and three because I had complaints about phases one, two, and three. Not on the level that I hated it, but some things that I didn't. I wish they would have done differently, or I think they should have went a different direction. But now when I look back at it, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Right? It's one of those things where it's like, man, I didn't know how good we had it until we got the content that they're making now. And in fact, I was going back because I bought the movies, but I had bought them in the what is it called, the HD. Right, a lot of them are more HD or Blu-ray HD, and so I'm actually picking them up on digital when they're on sale for 4K UHD, um, and appreciating the collection that way. Right, and I know I'm contributing to the beast and stuff like that, but given everything that's going on in the country, especially with the politics, I think that's eventually going to change. In the case of Marvel, dude, I mean, I look, dude, I could be wrong. I see Disney even making certain moves to change a lot of the stuff that they're doing, especially with the DEI stuff, which we'll jump on in a second, guys. Um, but I want to when we shift, guys, I'll let you know. But even Disney proper is changing. The only things that's not changing is Star Wars, which I think is absolutely dead. I don't think they can resuscitate that. It's gone. Right? They had a chance to fix it. They had the Mandalorian. And then some people are saying the Skeleton Crew is actually good. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like what they do, dude. It's over. And one of the reasons why is because they never got rid of one of the main problems, right? Is Kathleen Kennedy and all her cronies at Lucasfilm, dude. They stuck with it. A lot of us that are old school Star Wars fans and stuff like that, we were waiting for the hammer to fall, and it never did. Right? And they're still running the show over there. So I don't care what they do, man. I mean, it's so toxic, right? At this point in time at Disney that nobody's gonna go back, especially if they know they're affiliated with them. That's the way I'm consuming it. I know a lot of people are doing the same thing, or not consuming it because of those reasons. And Marvel's in the same boat, man. They're gonna have to get rid of Kevin Feige, right? Because Kevin Feige, man, man, how can I put this, man? He was a person for a certain time when Marvel was nothing and people were trying to snuff him out, and they were trying to adhere to an audience and get an audience and be successful. That's when he was at his best. Now that they've reached those heights of success, man, he's just not, you know, he's like all these, he's gotten comfortable. I don't know how else to put it. Right? And they need to put somebody else in there. Much respect to the dude, man, because he's done stuff that I didn't think was possible. And going against the grain in everything that's Hollywood and establishing himself, But at this point in time, dude, this is not the right guy for the job. He rules by fiat. He does things right now that is non-creative. He's lost his edge, right? And that's what happens sometimes when you become successful, right? You lose your edge. Okay, and and he's another one. He was a proponent like Kathleen Kennedy. He wanted to make the forces female, which he didn't have to do. And then with Kevin Feige, he wanted to do the DEI stuff, and he said it first and foremost. Then he got alphabet people stuff involved in it as well, and then lo and behold, what 5 7 years later, this is where Marvel sits and Marvel stands. And again, just to let you guys know, man, when Marvel they're so ingrained in this stuff, so was Star Wars that it killed the brand of Star Wars. And then with Marvel, they're trying to course correct, but they won't be able to. It's going to take forever, and by the time they course correct, which is the rumors, right, that they're trying to course correct and get back on the right track, it'll be too late because of this, like the Captain America: The Brave New World. The amount of people that are complaining about this movie across the board, right? Whether it's a old school guy like me, like I'm not gonna watch it, so you've lost me already. I'm checked out, right? You got these guys that are MCU fans, that they built over like 10, 11 years, and they're not happy as well, right? Because they're experiencing what I experienced when the MCU first kicked on board, right? Is the magic of the comic books, right? The stories of the comics, the creativity that was in the comic books, right? I mean, it was basically they adhered to that formula, but it was kind of a bastardization of all of that kind of stuff. Hey guys, please stand by. I'm sorry, we're gonna have some dead air really quickly. I gotta go grab something. Be right back. Sorry about that, guys. Really quickly, let me pull this up. Yeah, but that's all thanks to DEI, right? And that's what the podcast is basically about. We're going to talk about it. It's basically the death of DEI, and I mean, it's basically it's gone. Right after this last presidential election, again, getting into the politics of it because it matters. Um, DEI has taken his last breath, and then you still have people trying to do stuff like I'm just talking about Marvel and excuse me, and Disney and the Star Wars brand, all of that stuff. Right? There's still people. It's so entrenched, especially in Hollywood. And Hollywood has kind of always been that, they're definitely a liberal bastion and stuff like that. But these guys have turned hardcore leftists, and so, um, for a lot of these people, which is the main problem with DEI, dude, it's not inclusion, right? I've done multiple videos on this channel talking about the exclusionary aspect of inclusion, right? Because inclusivity to these guys is getting everybody involved, giving everybody a fair a chance, level playing field, all that kind of stuff. And again, right, it sounds good, and in some aspects, it actually is good that you do that kind of stuff. But the way that these people wield it, right, it becomes something that starts off good, right? Like I like to say on this channel, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and there was good intentions when it started. And I'll even push back on that. I mean, it starts off with good intentions. There's people that from the jump, man, it was nothing. It was nothing to do with good intentions. It was all about revenge, right? I'm just gonna be honest with you guys when it comes to this stuff. For somebody like me, I tell you guys all the time, dude. I'm a person of faith. So recognized game. A lot of this stuff has very um, religious tones to it, right? Like adhering to principles, adhering to certain values. Shifting your morals right to the belief system that they adhere to, and it ends up becoming weaponized. It's like religion itself. Um, you know what it's supposed to be and what it can turn into because at its origin, man. It's all of this stuff is has a contingent of humanity, and humanity is flawed, right? So you have a lot of these people that want to make changes, that want to try and make the world a fairer and better place. The problem with that is the world is filled with other people, right? And so everybody else has different types of morals. They have different types of standards. And I'm not saying they have good morals, bad morals. It's just people are different, right? And if you think of people more in the individuals than groups, right, then you begin to understand it a little bit more. Right? There's nothing wrong with groups. There's nothing wrong with cultures. There's nothing worried about diversity in its truest sense of the word, right? But what this is the politicizing of these various things, right? Where it goes outside of the realm of what it's supposed to be. Like that's why I always like to use the word organic, right? There's organic aspects of this kind of stuff, but what this is something that's built in a lab, right? It's something that's socially engineered, and that's what you're experiencing right now in the world. Outside of politics, man. I mean, outside of pop culture, I mean politics in general, right? And that politic has come into the world of pop culture, and it's been like that for a while, because people have political leanings and political beliefs. Most creative types tend to be liberal. From my experience, very few are conservative in nature because of the way creativity, being a creative is. I even say with my own daughter, she's a very creative person. I think what keeps her grounded is that she's very pessimistic. She's a pessimistic person by nature, right? Totally opposite of my son. But um, that at the end of the day, that's what it is. That's what it boils down to, right? If I'm being honest. So when you bring that kind of luggage into anything, right? Like again, into pop culture, right? It's going to start to manifest itself, and then you're going to be able to see it, right? And about 10 years ago, I saw that stuff, right? I saw it very clearly. Like I told you guys, man, I am politically charged just because I love history and I love learning about history. And if you study history, right, things tend to happen in cycles, right? So I was able to recognize this stuff right away. Not just me, but other people as well. But again, if you pointed it out, you called all kinds of names, right? The amount of times I've been called a racist white dude by people who disagree with my opinion. And the only thing that irritated that actually didn't bother me that they would name call me, but the thing that bothered me the most was that they wouldn't offer something that was substantial as far as critique, right? And so now, because it's been able to go on for so long and it's gone so hard, right? That's one of the things about these kind of movements that you notice really quickly is they start to lose they start to lose their handle on things, and they start to lose their grip on reality to the point where it actually ostracizes people that might have supported them, or people that started off with that type of mindset, ideology, or even politics. Dude, the amount of people that are walking away from these that are either Democrat or left leaning and stuff like that, they're walking away from it just because they begin to realize that these people are losing their minds. Um, because at some point in time, man, in order to have true diversity, man, you have to have, and this is the kicker, right? It's not just of culture or color, or even or even thought. It's when somebody dares to think outside the box, right? Especially when it's against something that people. So that's why I told you, hey, what's up, Toe Man, brother? Just doing a podcast, man. Really quickly, positive pop culture, man. I haven't done one in a while. I've fallen behind, dude. It's hard, right? It's hard because there's so much stuff that I'm keeping up with. Like Avowed dropped. Um, Avowed was look, just a side note, dude. So I downloaded Avowed. I'll probably play today, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts on it. Um, I know that I didn't realize that I have to download it first, and then because I had bought the what is it? What do you call that, dude? The premium package, but for Game Pass, you only pay like $22 for it. I'm hearing a lot of good things about. I've heard some bad things, right? But overall, it seems positive. So I'm gonna try it out for myself today, guys, and I'll let you guys know. I'll probably even bring a video later today. I'll probably drop a couple of videos over the next couple of days, man. Just trying to catch up. There's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about, but I haven't been able to do it because I was busy working. And then where I work, dude, we've been kind of in flux as well. There's a lot of stuff going on in my job, and I've been having to pick up other stuff, other responsibilities to do, and some of that stuff I didn't know how to do. So I basically had to take training, had to sit down and get hand over, get a lot of the stuff handed over and stuff like that, and then, focus on that. So I've been having full days at my job, and which is great, man. It makes the time go by fast, right? I always enjoy that. Um, but yeah, Tom, man, what's up, man? Thanks for popping in. Let me know, man, if you have any comments, dude. This is all in chat as well. Just if you have any commentary on what I'm talking about. But thanks for being here, brother. Hold on, where was he? Yeah, but so like I said, fast forward to now, man, and DEI is officially dead, right? And the election in November basically solidified that. On top of the fact that the final nail in the coffin is basically Trump, right? And I'm experiencing that firsthand where I work. He came in, he's signing executive orders, and he's super focused on DEI, especially when it comes to our military, which I can speak firsthand. I mean, it's bad. The one thing people don't understand when it comes to the military, dude, it's not about you. It's about the service, right? Military service, and it's also about uniformity, which I strongly believe in. If you guys didn't know, dude, I'm prior Navy vet, um, and I went through all of that, dude. Went through all of that. And when I was in the military, man, the reason why certain things are required of you while you're in service is to keep everything uniform. It was something that I was taught in boot camp as well. Uniformity matters. Um, oh, you just got off work driving home. Ah, yeah, I know we're on that time. We have a time difference, brother. Yeah, but I'm glad you. Yeah, dude, I'm glad you got off of work, man. I'm gonna have a long 3-day weekend, 4-day weekend technically because I'm off on Tuesday as well. Um, but that's not for vacation or anything like that, dude. I got stuff I gotta take care of. But yeah, man, that's the best feeling, dude. We got off early yesterday at work, and I was able to come home. I was supposed to actually do this last night, yesterday, um, but then I had to. My daughter had to go someplace, and then I'm not gonna lie, man. I got old man syndrome, dude. I fell asleep on the couch. I fell asleep on the couch, man. My daughter texted me because she's gonna stay with the mom. And then I was like, oh man, it's late. So I just went to bed. Just got up this morning and decided to do it. Because I don't have any, too, man, I don't really have any much to talk about with Xbox. So that's why I'm using, Saturdays I normally talk about Xbox stuff. But I'm like, you know what, dude, I can catch up with my pop culture and politics stuff today. And then even for the rest of the days that I'm off, I'll be punching out videos to catch up, dude. Reactions, commentary, stuff like that. But yeah, so once they started initializing that, dude, I knew it was for real. And already the businesses were changing. There's a reason why, if you guys watched the inauguration, all the big wigs were there from the tech companies. Man, the tech companies went through the shredder these last 4 years, man. And I thought it was ironic because they actually voted for it. They voted for these 4 years, these last 4 years, and they paid a heavy price. Man. A lot of people are out of jobs. Again, I say this all the time on the channel because it's true, man. The tech industry has been untouchable basically since its inception. They had like one tech bubble, right? And that's about it. But other than that, dude, it's been uphill. It's been an upward swing all the this for like over a decade for these guys, or maybe even 2 decades, if I'm mathing correctly. Um, and look, dude, it was about to come to. There's something that was going to happen eventually, man. I mean, you had so many people flooding into the tech field, right? Regardless of its being techs themselves or actually just the support staff that does the tech stuff, right? Like in my case where I work, dude, I do a lot of the data entry, mostly for personnel actions and stuff like that. Some of it is system related, but it's more admin type, dude. I don't have the I don't manage the systems and stuff like that. We have other people that do that, right? And then when you have an influx of people in these fields, man, it starts to get top heavy, right? And so one thing that was able to keep the tech industry afloat, right, has just been they just been knocking it out of the park. All you have to do is look at the stocks, look at how the businesses have grown, the amount of people they brought in, and look at something like Tesla, and see where they're at right now, right? But one of the things you got to keep in mind, dude, is when things get a little bit top heavy, that's when you should thinking about the bubble bursting and stuff like that. That's what I do anyway. And I'm not wishing ill on the people, right? The only thing, look, dude, I'm just gonna be honest with you. You get what you voted for. You know, elections have consequences. And for all of you guys who are Xbox guys like me, man, you experienced it with I say this all the time, just a reminder, with the FTC, right? And when Microsoft was trying to buy Activision King Blizzard, that's a perfect example of what's going on right now in the country as far as the Trump administration going in and trying to um, regulate government because it needs to be regulated. Actually, it needs to be. If you want my opinion, I'm a small government guy. I say that on the channel all the time, but I'll repeat it here. Um, a lot of these things need to go. Right. What you're living in this country right now is you're basically experiencing like a medieval a medieval time period, right? Where you're being ruled. Um, you had somebody that was sitting on top on high, and then everything was getting passed down from that person to the next level. And actually, it wasn't really technically him. Um, it's what it is. It's just like the emperor has no clothes. Right? Look, we all knew Biden. Everybody with any sense of reality knew that this dude was checked out. He wasn't running it, dude. It's all the minions underneath him. It's all the organizations, all this stuff that you see Elon Musk doing right now. Where and I'll do a separate video on this, guys. I won't hang on this too much, but I just want to explain this. All of the stuff that you see Doge doing right now, these are the people that they're going after. These are the people that's been running the country for the last 4 years. They're the ones responsible for all the stuff that you've been going through, especially people on the level I'm at. Right, when it comes to costs, the cost of living, and all this kind of stuff, these are the people that make up these stupid rules that they want you to eat lab meat, right? That they start killing chickens, right? So that the chicken population goes down, and then your eggs shoot out. At least where I'm at, do $12 for 18, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? Julius Caesar, hey, what's up, bro? Julius Caesar, welcome, dude. I think getting rid of DEI in the military is a good thing. Yeah, Julius. I'll be honest with you, dude. I'm prior military, and I was in the military during a time where everything was about uniformity, and it needs to be, so that nobody. It helps with the discipline, right? So when people do stuff that's outlandish or stupid, like being drunk in uniform or all of that stuff the stuff that's really bad. This is why they do the little minutiae of stuff like how you're supposed to dress, how military bearing, all that kind of stuff. It matters. I've always been a big proponent of that. Granted, it mattered a lot more to me in the sense that I was an admiral staff, and being on an admiral staff, that stuff really stands out. You gotta dress right, dress kind of deal. Julius Caesar, it will really help recruitment numbers. Yeah, 100%. That's why I was a big proponent of Pete Hegseth being the Secretary of Defense. His warfighter mentality, I think, is important, right? And when I was in the military, dude, there's people that came in for various reasons, um, and the like boot camp, and as you go through the process, people that don't want to be there or don't know that they don't want to be there, eventually find out that they don't want to be there, and it kind of corrects itself, right? And that all went away with when you're trying to appease people, right? It's like, look, dude, it's military service, dude. You have to give of yourself to actually serve in the military. And I know it's not as hardcore as it used to be back in the day, and of course we live in different times. But I think that should still ring true, because you have people that are going to be, like when I was in, dude. It's like you knew, like the people that were there that did not want to be in the military, dude, and you wish they wouldn't be in the military because everything affects everybody else around you, right? Like where I work right now, dude. I'm very in tune with the military, man, and from the things to hair standards and look, dude, I just be honest with you, man. A lot of these dudes look sloppy over the last couple of years. It even bothered me, dude. And I was in the Navy, right? Of all the branches of services, right? And even the Air Force, is all the crap people give the people in the Air Force. At least they're more like a business type, dude. They present themselves accordingly, man. The Navy was probably for me the worst, because we are the biggest branch, man. We're huge, and there's a lot of different people doing a lot of different jobs. And it's all about the fleet at the end of the day. But still, I like it. I like it, dude. I like that the recruitment numbers are growing up, because it shows me that we still have that population of people in the country that believe in the country, believe in defending the country, believe in the Constitution, and why it's important to have a standing military, especially the Army. The Army is probably one of the biggest ones. Marines are always going to be Marines, dude. Dude, Marines are just on a whole nother level. The Army, though, that's technically our fighting force, and to see the recruitment numbers go up like that, that was I liked it. I was like, okay, good. I know a lot of Gen Z people. There's a lot of being said about Generation Z right now, and so I'm not gonna lie, man. I mean, it helps me feel good about our future as a country. Julius Caesar says, I guess the future wars will be fought by straight white males. It was funny, man. I was having a discussion with I think it was my sister. I believe it was my sister, and we were talking about that because, the stuff with the stars and bars, and look, dude, if you guys don't look at this kind of stuff, man, there's certain particular people that fight the wars for our country, right? And when they started cracking down, and then we started getting with the toxic white male stuff and all that kind of stuff, that's the first thing that popped into my mind, bro. It's like, okay, like who's gonna fight our wars, right? Because in order to fight wars, dude, you have to have some kind of pride in the country. And a lot of people that still have that straight up pride, love the American flag. Look, dude, just watch a NASCAR event, right? Just go look at what happened at the Super Bowl, man. Army Navy game. They come from particular parts of the country, right? And then we've gone through 10 years of people just trying to derate and destroy, right? You see them changing names of stuff, changing statues. I think one of the most prolific things that Pete Hegseth did when it comes to his short stint as secretary, or he just got elected. He just got confirmed for Secretary of Defense, right? But he's going around to all the bases, man. He's gonna change. He's gonna bring back the name Fort Benning. And as long as I've been alive, dude, I've just known it as Fort Benning, right? I forgot what they changed it to. And you guys got to be cognizant of that, dude, because they tagged the whole racial thing on upon it. But what it is, it's very diabolical. What it is they're just trying to erase the past of the country is what they're trying to do. That's what this current administration was doing. When Trump was the President Trump came in 2016, he was that big hiccup, right, for these guys, and before that in Obama's administration as well, right? They were trying to make it like more inclusive, more. Dude, when every time they start talking like that, dude, your spidey senses start tingling, because there's a reason behind all that stuff. Julius Caesar, getting rid of DEI means that straight white males will be catching all the bullets, while minorities, women, and LGBT stay in the rear with the gear. What I think is going to happen, Julius, to your point, is people that don't identify. Um, I believe personally, e pluribus unum, out of many one, right? And that can apply across the board, regardless of age, sex, all of the stuff that they've been pushing. But I will agree that some people that are in the military right now, and I see it all the time, dude, they're there for reasons outside of what they need to be in there for, especially if you're in a combat, um, if you're in a combat uh, job skill, if I'm being honest, right? But I mean, I know, dude. Look, like myself, man. I'm not a white dude, man, but I'm very pro-American. Serving in the military, that helped me expand my horizons a lot when it came to the country. Because once you do the service and the time, you just feel a certain way One of my friends, man, was in the Navy with me. He was a corpsman. Sometimes when you talk, dude, you can tell. Oops, sorry about the noise, guys. You can tell, like, he had all kind of baggage when he came to America as a country. Then he went overseas. He served with the Marines because he was a corpsman, and he came back after was it 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, something like that. And he changed his whole perspective, man, because he went outside of, first he comes from a certain part of the country, a small town. Then he goes into the military, right? So he has his ideals about America and his experiences here. It wasn't until he went outside of the country and actually served in a foreign country and he realized, how special it is to be an American and the rights and stuff that we had. He talked to me about it. He like totally changed, bro. He became like a totally different person, right? And it actually helped him with his life, man. It was amazing to me, man, because he actually he got married, had kids. When he got out of the military, he stayed in that profession that he was in. In fact, it motivated him to do even better. And like I said, dude, sometimes you need something like that, dude. Like I'm not saying it's not good for people to be in the military. Sometimes the military, like for when I joined, dude, look, I just be honest with you, man. Desert Storm was going on, and then a bunch of the people from the school I went to, man, we all went and enlisted for, hey, man, we got to fight for the country. That type of mentality. When I got into the service, man, there was people there for his college program. Some guys were trying to stay out of jail. Other people were like, they were like, I don't know what to do. My parents kicked me out of the house, so that's my only choice. And I did, that's kind of like, look, dude, I just didn't know that's what I was naive, bro. Is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, dude, I mean, look, and that's the great thing about the military, man. Anybody can participate, but I'm not gonna disagree, bro. If you look at our fighting force, because it's ingrained in it's ingrained in the culture, right? There's an interesting study that came out. It was out of England, and I was watching the video. And they were discussing this, how the majority of the people in England aren't proud to be British, right? And I think it was like only 18% are proud to be British now. Now, one of the guys that were on there was talking about this, and he made a great point. A lot of times, their culture is derided, right? They've opened up their borders to have a lot of people come in. Look, I don't have any problem with immigration. I think like in countries, especially in the West, like for America, for example, like they need to slow it down, right? They need to make sure. In fact, I think they should be looking specifically at places to bring in people to bring in immigrants, right? There's this narrative of immigration being to bring about the poor, the lowly, and all this kind of stuff. No, dude, that's not what immigration's about, guys. Immigration's about getting the best citizens, the best people to come into your country and make your country better. And we've gotten away from that, and it shows, especially the last 4 years, man. They were just leaving the borders open, all these people coming in, and now we got to go through the heavy lifting of correcting all those mistakes, right? Which is why you're seeing the news now, right? And that's the great thing about the news, dude. Nobody believes the news anymore. People are waking up. They're understanding that, even if they can't stand Trump or they hate the direction of the country, they know that the media is full of liars, and the only people that believe them, the media is they're actually ultra leftists, dude. At the end of the day, right? Oh, Jesus says, all that red, white, and blue stuff is fine if you're able-bodied and healthy. Once you get hurt, sick, PTSD, and lose your ability to be self-sufficient, the military takes off the mask. Yeah, dude. I mean, and hopefully they course correct that, especially the VA, dude, because I have to deal with the VA all the time, right? And they did, the VA is a government entity. It's gotten better from when I first started dealing with them, man. But at the end of the day, they're a government entity, right? So they do things sometimes that are you just scratch your head and you're like wondering, like, they send me to this therapist, I'm doing fine, and then they're like, oh well, you have to stop going there because we don't know if it's working out for you. Then you provide them all the paperwork, right? It's just again, dude, just watch all the stuff that Doge is uncovering. For you guys that are out there, just look at what Doge is uncovering out there, and you'll see what I'm talking about, right? The government has a role. But government at its core, it's not meant to do all the stuff that it's doing. Right? Again, we're an pro Xbox channel here, man. FTC. Right? A lot of us are scratching that. Well, not me, but a lot of you guys are scratching your head, wondering, okay, why are they trying to block this? Right? But it had nothing to do with you as a gamer. It had nothing to do with Xbox or Microsoft only the Xbox brand, trying to bring value and trying to save the company that was definitely needed to help, all that kind of stuff. In your mind, you see it and it's reasoning. Some of us had red flags. Okay, well, we got to be careful of this, and this. But other than that, this should be a slam dunk, right? And it wasn't, right? And that's your brief. That was your introduction. If you guys aren't political or politically charged, that was your introduction to how government works, and which shows that it doesn't work, right? And again, like I said before, all of that was a power move. It's all about power and control, right? That's what you've been experiencing the last 4 years, man. It wasn't that dude at the top, right? That's why they elected him, right? They wanted him to be there so that they can do all the stuff that they're doing. And this is why, man, when Trump came in office, that's why a lot of people, there as it was getting closer to election, man. Because a lot of times, I tell you guys this all the time on our channel, man. You can tell a person, like, if you, it's not good to lie. Lying is a sin. Lying is bad. But one of the reasons why you don't want to lie is because if you lie all the time and you lie too much, you can't tell truth. You can't tell the truth from the lie, and it warps your reality. So you start believing your own lies, right? And that's what ended up happening in 2016 in the election. It happened this time around again because these people never learn because they constantly lie. They lie so much that they can't tell what the truth is anymore, and then they get caught in their own lies. Right? Oh, what a tangle web we weave for first we practice to deceive. That's where that comes from. Right? These people have no clue or grasp of what reality is, and it affects their moral compass. It affects their ability to reason, their intellect, to tell what's up, what's right or left, what's up and down. Right? To the point where, like now, when they're being exposed. Full stop. They're being exposed just because of the simple fact that when they say something, they'll contradict themselves. Right? Like the big thing now about electing unelected officials. Right, number one, these guys are the brightest, the sharpest tools in the shed, dude. They don't get into government service for the right reasons, right? So they're talking about having unelected people, where the entirety of our government now is mostly unelected. Most of these people are appointed. Again, I referenced the FTC, right? This is what was going on with the FTC with Linda Khan, right? She actually had to go before Congress, but everybody else underneath her. This is why it's all the same group think. It's all the mind think, right? They have agendas, and they roll by fiat because they have ideologies. Right? And that's what you're seeing exposed right now. And the people crying the most right now, instead of looking at like it's fine to look at those, right? I'm not saying that to fall asleep or anything like that, right? You got to look at things, but look at it honestly. But if you just take the time, if you haven't, it's just to kind of turn and look at the people that are complaining the most. Like look at their background, look at why they're doing what they're doing, right? And it's going to be easy for you to see what's really going on. These dudes, they of course they're screaming, man. Their money's going to be destroyed. Their power and influence is being taken away from them, right? And ironically, by the stroke of a pen, like they would do, right? I mean, I said this like over 20 years ago. Yeah, I've never liked executive orders just for the simple fact that, it goes out of control, and that's what's happened, dude. It's gone out of control, right? Bush Jr. did it, and then Obama did it. Then President Trump came in and he took that thing full scale, especially with the way that he governs, right, as a populist, right? And then Obama went, and then now Trump's coming back in. In fairness to Trump, a lot of his executive orders are to reverse the stuff that's going on, but still, at its core, that's what's happening, right? But at least with Trump, they try and keep it within the confines of the Constitution, which of course they have to, right? Because if not, they're totally they'll totally get destroyed. Because there's people just waiting for him to fail. Once you lose your ability to work, no one cares. Then you're dependent on the VA. You go from Superman. You go from Superman to Lois Lane. Yeah, Julius, I'm assuming you're prior military as well. Yeah, but it's funny, dude. Once you sign on the dotted line, you're actually proper to the U.S. military. And then I was medically discharged because of my knee. But it was during this time, dude. It was a crazy time for me, Julius, man. Like the military was downsizing. This was in Clinton's era, and they were just trying to downsize the military, man. They were shutting bases left and right. Where the base where I was stationed at, they closed that entire area was shut down. And I felt sorry for the government workers that were there that were actually working. But everybody, even me. So with me, like I make this joke all the time, dude. It's like if you were in the military and you sneezed, they would try to put you up. Because mine was my disability, man. I hurt my knee and they did the surgery, so I came back and they were like, "Oh, you know what? You don't have any," which isn't wrong, right? My knee was so bad that I didn't have mobility enough to be stationed on a ship. And I don't think that. I mean, I probably could have, but at the time they were looking for any reason, so I got. I mean, I signed on the dotted line, took my medical discharge, and been dealing with the VA ever since. Why should any minority, female, LGBT in their right mind join the service if they know they can be treated badly with no protection and then abused by the VA if they were disabled. Well, for me, it's not about like for me, dude. I'm a as a minority, quote unquote, right? Um, I never thought about myself that way, dude. When you go into the military, I always thought myself as a military person, service member, or stuff like that. Now, when you're once you're in the military, again, there is a human element, right, like any place else. That's why it's important, at least for me, that they adhere to uniformity and the principles that make the military what it is, and keeps everything fair and balanced across the board, right? And nothing ever is truly fair and balanced, dude. I mean, they have a system when you come in. I came in as an E1, right, the very lowest of the totem pole. But what you want to do is you want to keep everything uniform, just so that you go through the proper, um, you know, that military lifestyle of doing what you need to do, learning, right, contributing, doing your job, all that kind of stuff, and then you advance yourself, right? And of course, nothing's perfect, man. I've seen people advance when they shouldn't have. I've seen, it's like any other place, man. It's like, again, human element, right? But a lot of that, dude, is a chain of command, dude. I say this all the time. Chain of command um, is how can I put this? Chain of command is very important when it comes to the military. I've seen people's careers make or break by that. Dude. If you have a bad chain of command, you're in for a long day. But then again, like to your point, bro, it is what it is. And it's about making the choice. So I would prefer it to all be out there and honestly, so people can make the right choices if they want to join the military or not. Like a lot of people are surprised, man. People thought because the way I am that I would make my kids join the military, and I'm like, no, dude, I'd never do that, dude. And I can look at my kids, dude. Look, I mean, they're good kids. I raised them, with a level of discipline and stuff like that. But you know, it's not just about my kids and what they can get out of the military. It's what they bring to the military as well, dude. And I've been in those situations where I've been with people that shouldn't have been in, or they don't need to be in, or they don't really want to be in. And everybody suffers. So I talk to my kids about it, especially my son. When it comes to certain benefits and stuff like that. And they didn't want to go in, and I was like, all right, that's fine with me, dude. Julius says that the draft dodger slashing 1,000 employees from the VA is Donnie's way of saying thank you for your service. Yeah, bro, Julius, man, I'm gonna tell you, bro, it's gonna get worse, man. It's gonna get worse. Have they done the VA yet? I don't think they made it that far. I think the only saving grace for like VA employees or people like myself. Yeah, dude, this truck. Sorry about that, guys. I kind of muted it, man. The truck was where I live, dude. All the nosiest cars live at the top of the hill. Yeah, I don't think they made it to the VA so far. But I look, dude, I ain't holding my breath. Where I work, dude, everybody's on edge, right? But we'll see, dude. I mean, like I said, like I was saying, the only saving grace I see is that um, Trump is very pro military. That's why, and what I mean by pro military is that's why you got Pete Hegseth, right? He wants the military to go to have that fighting force warfighter mentality. So we'll see, dude. We'll see, but yeah, if you're any type of affiliation with the government, whether employee, permanent, or contractor, dude, keep your head on a swivel. Get that resume ready, just in case. And because it's not just a military industrial complex that a lot of people are talking about now. Um, it is about a lot of the services and programs that the government provides, dude. It just costs a lot of money, dude. It's one of the reasons why. Look, just to simplify it, man. If you guys, where you guys are in your own lives, man, the more money you bring in and that you can hold on to, the better it is for you. Now, when your expenses start, when your expenses are equal to or start exceeding your actual income that you're bringing in, then you have to naturally make changes and choices, right? Yeah, but Julius, man, I don't. Yeah, it's tough. It's gonna be tough, man. There's no. Look, dude, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this stuff, dude. We'll see what happens. The only positive thing I can see out of all of this happen is that they do make the necessary corrections so we can get back to being the efficient government can get back to being efficient like it should have been from the jump. That's why for me personally, people ask me, am I upset with what's going on, what they're trying to do? Like, not really. I mean, I feel sorry for look, dude. Again, 80-20 on this stuff, me personally. Um, but what I'm seeing is that they're making these corrections because they need to be corrected, man. If we don't do something, Elon talked about it in the press conference, which I wanted to cover, but I did not. I'll try. I'll probably go back and look at it, guys, and maybe do a video on it, man. But it's been a couple weeks, man, and stuff's moving so fast, like I said. But he talked about it, man. Like the big elephant in the room is the debt the country has, and he made a very salient point. Guys that follow this, like myself, understand that the debt bomb is going to hit this year, right? So the thing you got to look at is look at the interest we pay on the debt. It exceeds the interest on the debt exceeds even our national defense budget, the Pentagon's budget, man. And where a lot of people are like they're already looking at that like, oh, that's horrendous. You think that's bad? Look at our interest rate. It's like anybody has a credit card, man. When the interest rate goes up to 25, man, you're in deep kimchi, man. Just being honest. But oh yeah, thanks Julius. Thanks for being here, brother. Okay, sorry guys, we're gonna course correct you, but thanks Julius for being here because I love talking about this stuff. Let's be honest. But we're gonna course correct really quickly and hold on. Let's talk about where were we? Yeah. So well, case in point, shifting back DEI is why we kind of talked about this stuff, right? But I'm glad it's gone. I'm glad that it's dying, dude. I just don't think we live in a time where this stuff is not necessary. And again, like I said, the way I looked at the way people were instigating DEI, it wasn't implementing DEI. It wasn't to make it fair or balanced, dude. It was all about weaponizing, right? A lot of it out of revenge, because certain people feel a certain way, right? About I can speak to this dude. You guys know, man. I'm Polynesian and stuff like that, so I see that where I live as well. But yeah, dude, I look at this and I'm like, dude, you don't. You just want to pay people back, right? And then on top of that, you have people grifting onto it that want to use it for a step up. You have people jumping on it because they want to have power and control, like we talked about a little bit earlier. And so it's just a bad look, dude. At the end of the day, dude, it was weaponized, and everybody sees it now, right? As something as important as government to something minuscule as pop culture, which is what I'm talking about right now. But damn, I've been running for a while now. All right, sorry guys, let's go. What else are we talking about? And it's also okay. So we'll shift gears now, man, and we'll talk about this because I think it's important to talk about this, man. Dude, I know a lot of you guys like me. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Oh wait, hold on, guys. Did I say? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, but Julius, thank you for being here. Sorry, I thought I missed. It's weird, man. My thing is, I'm jumping in between streams, guys. I'm looking at my stuff on the channel. Yeah, there we go. I see it. Okay, I'm caught up. Why is this not popping up? Look, and I don't know if this is true or not, guys. I heard that Microsoft at Xbox. I haven't played Avowed yet. A lot of people are complaining about the build-up with Avowed that they kind of went radio silent. One of the reasons why they went radio silent is their art director, um, talking trash online. People went and dug up his past post, and with all the stuff going on with DEI, man, that's like the death nail right now, right on a lot of stuff, man. And people are super sensitive on it. People are ultra focused on it, right? So a lot of these people that are coming up, like doing what they've been doing for the last couple of years, right? You tell them you don't like their product, you're not down with what their ideology is, and they have no problem on social media calling you a Nazi, calling you a racist, calling you a bigot, telling you to kill yourself, right? All of that stuff, right? That's been going on for years. Well, they don't have that anymore, right? Because not only are they getting pushback, man, but it's showing in the numbers. So this art director that works over that was working on Avowed, man, said some stuff along those lines, attacking people that were. I don't think for the most part they were attacking them. They were just giving their opinion, which is different than being attacked. Um, which he didn't agree with, man. Of course, so I can tell what his politics are, what side of the fence he's on, which is fine, right? But again, hopefully these guys learn, man, is that at the end of the day, you work in a business. It's for entertainment, um, and if you're not giving the people what they want, or at least respecting them, right? Like for me personally, if you want to make the game that you want to make, go ahead, dude. Go ahead, make whatever game you want to do. And if I play it and I like it, fine. If I play it and I don't like it, fine. If the reasoning that I play a game and then I'm looking at it, I was like, you know what, the problem was you're ultra focused on sexuality or ultra focused on the politics as opposed to making a great game. And you turn around and call me a Nazi and tell me to go F myself. Then I'm like, all right, dude, I'm out. Right? Because at the end of the day, I don't need you. Right? But at the end of the day, you need me. Right? And that's the dynamic, right? I work here. Right? That's why a lot of these people, they try and compare themselves to like, oh, slaves or being downtrodden or all this kind of BS that they're putting in. And all you do is make video games, brother. You know what I'm saying? I come back from, I mean, I don't make any excuses for myself. And I come from a more harder time. And the reason why I don't make excuses for myself because I was raised by somebody that came from a time that was absolutely medieval in some aspects by today's standard, right? And that person who raised me never complained one bit, right? And the reason why she didn't, right, is because she had it rough. It's my grandmother. She raised me, man. She had a rough life, dude. And when you have it that rough, at the end of the day, dude, you just have to push forward, right? And that's why she comes from that greatest generation. So that's why I don't. I try and sympathize with people. I know that's one of my flaws, right? I try to, especially since I had kids. You have to, man. Because a lot of times, when your kids come to you as an adult, you're just looking at them like, oh, this little kid's problems. But you don't want to. You want to be able to connect with your children. I just say it that way, right? You got to lay down the hammer, man, and be honest with them. But um, it's good to have that open communication with your kids because there's going to be times I can tell you right now, guys, that's all going to go away just because they're going to get older and they're going to find other groups that they're going to belong to and other things they're interested in. It's kind of working out for me right now. That's why I don't have to go watch any Marvel movies because I think they absolutely suck. And so I don't have to worry about it. The last movie I went again, like I said, is Doctor Strange 2, which was, for me, it was absolutely horrendous, dude. It was a bastardization of even, because I actually liked the first Doctor Strange movie. And what I was hoping is they would do a continuation of that because there are so many things that they could do, so many avenues they could have taken. And what they did was absolutely important to everything that they had built in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they only did that off of one film with Doctor Strange, the first one. And then the second one, dude, they tried to bring in all this DEI crap, tried to girl boss the character. Scarlet, which is a powerful character in the Marvel comic universe, but there's reasons why she's that way, right? But when you're trying to write a narrative that, she's basically the villain, but they don't want to, they want to make her a strong girl boss, right? So there's all these tropes that you got to adhere to. And it's antithetical to what the comic book is or to what the hero story is in general, right? There's going to be no redemption arc if what she does is not wrong, that you got to try and sympathize with her. But what she's doing is evil, and that's the sad thing about it, right? Because you lose a lot of that in the story of why she becomes powerful, right? It's not just the I'm all powerful. Because she loses her humanity when she does this. Like I did a video on Solo Leveling. It's one of the interesting things about that character in the movie, in the television, in the anime, where he's getting all these powers. He's leveling up. That's why it's called solo leveling. And the world that he lives in, dude, you can't. That's outside of the norm, right? They have to go into these dungeons and fight these monsters and these beasts and these powerful characters. Certain people they're limited to their abilities. So what you do is you put teams together that can go to these dungeons and take the dungeons down. Because if they don't, um, bad things are going to happen. That's the focus of what's going on, right? So because like you could have a strong healer or you can have a strong tank and stuff like that, they put these teams together because they can only do certain things, right? So having a team of these people, just like any other RPG you bring going, and so that's what the focus is. Well, the main character is beyond all of this stuff, or that's what I'm finding out, right? He's a character that that's why again they call it soul. I mean, he can go in these dungeons and go it alone, right? But again, he's becoming powerful in the anime. He's becoming powerful. He's becoming more and more powerful every day. But what's happening is he's going through these things where you see that he's losing a bit of his humanity, which would make sense, right? And that's the whole thing with Scarlet Witch. Anyway, guys, sorry, we're talking about Marvel right now, so we're switching gears from DEI to Marvel, and so you don't get that experience with Scarlet Witch, right? Why she lost her humanity and actually what happened. They kind of touch on it. They did the Vision and Scarlet Witch show, which kind of touched on it. Of all the Marvel shows, that's probably my favorite one. If I have to say I have one, except for the ending and some of the stuff they did along the way, they just lost to me. They lost the narrative, and it just became convoluted and confusing, right? Because they have to follow these tropes, man. This is the big problem with Marvel, man. It's number one, they're adhering to these ideologies, which is antithetical to the hero story, man, or comic books in general. That's why they're having such a problem. Um, trying to create anything, and then on top of that, it doesn't help that these people are not talented as well, right? Because at the end of the day, man, DEI is gonna die, or DEI is dead, like I said. But that's still not going to take away the fact that you're not good at writing a story or producing a product or directing a motion picture or television show. That's still going to be there, guys. So that's the only thing. That's why I tell you guys all the time, man. There's more to it than that. I mean, it's a big proponent. It was a driving force behind what some the suckage that we've gotten over the last couple of years, especially when it comes to Marvel. And the reason that I checked out, but it's still a problem, right? Um, so hopefully the whole meritocracy stuff that you hear people talking about right now, maybe that kicks into gear. But at the end of the day, dude, that doesn't mean nothing as well, man. If the problem I see a lot of times, and I talk to my kids about this, right? Because they're creatives themselves, right? It's just like whether like with my son in music and with my daughter with her art, I'm like, at the end of the day, dude, you have to love what you're doing, and it has to be a labor of love, right? And when you are using certain quotas, right? Checking up the boxes and stuff like that. That's where you lose a lot of the talent, right? Because a lot of people that are creative, man, are so fiercely. I guess Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey. I just watched Sonic the Hedgehog 3, man. Absolutely awesome movie. I've loved the whole series. It's probably like the first trinity of movies that I've seen recently that actually lived up to the billing and the hype. Right? I'm not saying they're the greatest movies of all time, but as a person who's a Sega fan, a fan of Sonic especially, um, and even putting on my movie hat, dude, and enjoying it for what it is, a good popcorn flick that has something for everybody, especially the fans, and the hardcore Sega fans, right? That's the first Trinity we've had in a long time that lived up to the expectations. Well, and I see John Wick as well. I like John Wick, and I'll say the Equalizers with Denzel Washington, and I grew up watching a TV show. Um, Anytime they try and redo a TV show, make it into movie form, I'm always a bit skittish, right? But once they attach Denzel, you guys know I'm a huge Denzel Washington fan. So once they put Denzel on it, it kind of it reassured my my fears. And on top of the fact that it's Denzel, I'll go watch anything he's in. I don't care what it is. Though I haven't seen the latest Gladiator, I'm gonna go check that out. In fact, I think I can buy it on the Xbox store for $9.99 now. Look, I just don't do the movies anymore, guys. Where I live, dude, is absolutely ridiculous. A lot of you guys, I see you guys complaining about movies and the cost of movies. Dude, you come where I live, dude, it is a night on the town, bro. It's like putting on the Ritz. Dude, it is like, dude, I feel like I gotta put on a suit and drive a high-end car, bro. Spending so much money to go to the movies, especially if I take my kids. So, we do the movies at home now, right, just to save money. And because it's not a good experience either, man, dude. The chairs now are all worn out. Normally, they would be fixing it and making the experience better. Sometimes I go into the movie theater. Last time I went to the movie theater, bro, the air was off, right? Because of they're trying to save on electricity, dude. That's how you know things are bad, dude. Little things like that shouldn't even be a thought, man. Everything like that should be working to the fact of catering to your audience that's coming there for the experience, right? And when you have a bunch of people in a movie theater and everybody's like hot, especially where I live, bro. And the theater I went to, dude, that's like one of the most local places that you're gonna go. Again, guys, I'm in Hawaii, and when I mean local, man, it's like the local population. A lot of people go to these theaters, right? Because it's on the west side of the island, right? So when I go in there, I'm not a small guy, but there's guys in there that make me look tiny that coming in there. Dude. You have guys like 500 pounds, 500 pounds going into sitting on these leather seats, man. You want everything. You want the air conditioning to be straight. You know what I'm saying? Right? I went the last time I went, man. There's this dude in there, man. He had to be all of 6'7". Was it Maverick? Was it Maverick we went to go watch? I forgot what movie it was. Bro, this was one big soldier, man. Big Samoan dude. And you can tell, man. He was gasping for the air. You come sit down. Oh man, he started saying, "Oh, it's so hot in here, right?" It was funny to me. I mean, everybody. I mean, we all joke, we all laugh, right? There's a bunch of local people in there, and we know what he's saying, dude. But that should be a little stuff like that. Dude. This is what we've been dealing with for the last couple of years, man. is that kind of stuff, dude. Stuff like that you shouldn't even think about when you go to the theater, especially when you're paying the prices. It was always expensive to go to the theater here, man. When people was only paying $9 in the mainland here, dude, it was always like 14.99. Now it's like 20 something bucks. And I think they dropped it down a little bit, man, because they kind of have to bring the people in, but it's still high. But what they'll catch you is on the popcorn and stuff like that, right? Paying like $30 for a combo meal. It's like, nah, That's why when I would go with my kids, man, we made it kind of an event. But now we just don't go at all because it's not worth the money. Which is a lot of things where I live, dude, eating out all that stuff. But um, that's the interesting thing about Sonic 3, man, is what Disney did to keep it from just like Disney does Disney things, dude. I'm not saying they're the best company. I miss the old Disney. I'm from that era, right? But they're putting it. They're trying to put Lion King on as much screens as possible. To get the revenue in there, to get more people to go see it, but also to kind of block out the competition. And the biggest competition they had was from Sonic 3. Um, and look, dude, I mean, the sad thing about it is Lion King is a big brand too. That I don't think you necessarily have to do that, but they did. They went that route. It is what it is. But I mean, one of the things that these guys aren't realizing, dude, is it's bastardizing their fan base. Right? It's just like people are not happy what they're doing, man, and they're walking away. For example, like I said, the video I was talking about earlier, Jester, and I forgot her name, but I just subscribed to her, man. Great channel. Hold on, let me see if I can find it, because I do want to shout her out. But she was giving her Captain America: Brave New World review, which I think is a great review. Just about right. And but I'm not going to be hypocritical as well. Like I tell you all the time on the channel, man. If you guys are interested in something, go check it out, dude. Make up your own mind. Decide for yourself. Like don't take my word for it, man. You might like it for whatever reasons, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's movies that I like that people absolutely can't stand. There's a movie called Fallen that I love, and it's about the war in heaven with the angels, and then what they're doing on Earth now. It's something that's outside of the norm, right? And then I watched it. I told my friends about it that I enjoyed it. They watched it. They absolutely hated the movie, and they're kind of giving me a hard time about it. And I was like, oh, dude, So I tell you that story to tell you this, man, because not everything that you like other people are gonna like. So again, not to be hypocritical. Look, if you want to go check out the movie, go check it out, man. So look, for me personally, it has nothing to do with the people really acting in the movie. In fact, that's one of the things I hate the most about Marvel movies now is they actually have the credibility. They built the credibility where they get actors that never would have done a Marvel movie at all, right? Because of the type of movies they are. They consider themselves thespians and stuff like that. But if you look at some of the actors they've gotten, dude, I mean, it's above the pale, man. Some of these dudes, Kenneth Branagh was produced on Thor, man. They got Sir Anthony Hopkins, right? Our girl from Star Wars, man, the big Padme, man. I can't think of her name right now. But if you look at the list of people, they've created celebrities and they've actually gotten well-known celebrities to be in their productions, right? And there was a time that wouldn't have happened, dude. It would be considered a joke to do that. But they did what they did, and they created the behemoth that they created. And they were able to have that type of political capital in Hollywood, where these people would get involved. And luckily for them, a lot of these actors and actresses are of a certain age group, right, where they have grandkids, and the grandkids think it's cool that they're in these movies, right? So that's another reason why they do it. Anyway, everything lines up for them. The stars are all aligned for them that they should be basically untouchable right now, right? But because of all this DEI bullcrap and because Kevin Feige wants to be accepted by the Hollywood community with his backwards thinking and stuff like that, that's basically ruined the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Has ruined the brand, right? Especially when they went all in on the DEI stuff. So it is what it is, man. And that's the thing that bothers me the most, man. I have no problem with Anthony Mackie. Actually, I think he's a pretty good actor. He's very charismatic, right? But they don't use that when it comes to him, dude. I mean, he's over there spouting out stuff that's political or racial and stuff like that, dude. That's the same thing that pissed me off about Shang-Chi. It's like when I looked at the actor, man. I like the actor. He's a pretty cool guy, man. Before Shang-Chi happened, right? And then he's Kim's Convenience. That's where I watched him at. And then he just seems like a pretty cool, laid-back guy. Kind of like how The Rock started off, or like even Dave Bautista in the beginning, man. That's how they start off, right? Because they're hungry, man. They want to be popular. They want to be famous. Then all this mind virus stuff starts infiltrating Hollywood, and these dudes start turning into like thespians and stuff like that, right? And they haven't even put in the work yet, right? Talking about issues that nobody really cares about, That might be specific to them. That's cool. Maybe in the groups that you, certain groups you hang out, well, focus on them, dude. Don't bring it to the general audience because the general audience don't know how to take you. But then they will watch your movie, right? And then when they watch the movie, dude, it's horrible. And then this is why these guys are failing so much. It's just the same way that Trump won the election and that he could actually, of course, correct all this stuff, do all the heavy lifting for him. They can call him names, orange man bad, tell him he's a Nazi and all this kind of stuff, which I think is funny. But they can do all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, they'll benefit from him doing this. Right? Same thing you say with the tech people right now, man. They like I said earlier, man, they went to the wood chipper, and they're course correcting, right? And I know Trump's asking for certain things from them. It is what it is, man. That's how you play the game. But at the end of the day, these guys can benefit, right? If people are just focusing on making a better product, making sure their systems are good, right? Open up the roles to a lot of different people, right? Not being pigeonholed by some ancient type of thinking, right? Like I said earlier, again, the government that you have right now is not really a government. It's not a democracy. And people like to use that word, which technically we're not. Again, we're a republic. This is why we have a constitution. This is why we have the three branches of government. This is why our system of checks and balances are important. This is why justice needs to be blind. You can't have lawfare going on. None of that kind of stuff, man. Hopefully, we correct that, getting back to good. Because over the last 2 decades, you've been living under a soft tyranny, right? People that are ruling again by fiat, man. You haven't had representatives. You've had dukes and lords. If you ever wanted to know how I felt to live in the medieval period, or what some people dub the Dark Ages and stuff like that, you've been living it for the last 2 decades. Right, you have unelected people that are making decisions for you, everyday decisions of like how you want to raise your kids, how you want your kids to, what you want them to believe in, right? All of that stuff, man. They've been trampling all over that for 2 decades, and unfortunately, it took us getting to this point to where a lot of people are waking up and they're like, no, I don't want you to tell, regardless of if you're left or right, conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, it don't matter. At the end of the day, it's about power and control that these people want, man. They'll do it to anybody, right? They'll do it to the enemies first, and a lot of you guys was cheering. A lot of you guys was cheering when it was on the other side, but now that the shoe's on the other foot, now you guys are beginning to wake up. They're just turning too much of a political podcast. Anyway, at the end of the day, that's why Marvel sucks. but if you want to go watch the movie, man, because you just want to look, dude. There's people that are gonna watch this movie that just want to escape, man. I mean, I think they'll be let down. Personally, my own opinion. But if you want to go watch the movie, go watch it. Make up your own mind. I said the same thing on this channel about games, right? Like for instance, Avowed, man, I'm not happy about the forced pronoun thing, but now I heard that they changed that, right? It's one of the pet peeves I've always had with Microsoft and the content they create, right? They'll sit there and they tell you, well, we believe in diversity and inclusion. Well, I don't believe in homosexuality and trans stuff, me personally, right? And they're like, oh, well, but you still got to pick a gender, him, he, me, she, whatever, that stuff, all those that pronoun group crap. Which on the first thing that offends me about this stuff is that I like the English language, right? So English was my favorite subject in school, like I said before, right? And that's number one. But number two, man, don't put your ideology on me, bro. Because if you're gonna try and put your ideology on me, right, I'm just gonna walk away. It's really that simple for me, okay? But since I'm a pro Xbox channel, guys, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna play it, man. We're gonna address it directly, like I'm addressing it right now, right? I bought the $30 pass. I downloaded it last night. Had a bit of a problem with it. It took a while for it to download, but I think everything's out of date. It was so much, but then I fell asleep. Right. I'm gonna be able to play it today. In fact, I'm gonna go upstairs after I do this podcast and give it a run, test it out. Heard a lot of positive things about it, but I'll let you guys know. And then I'll do it from a political perspective as well. I'll do a politics and pop culture type of my thoughts. Right. I'll do it that way because I do want to address that issue to see. But what I heard is that they don't force you to do that anymore, which I think is the right move for them to do. Right. If you believe in inclusivity, right, like you've been preaching, you gotta be across the board with this stuff, man. You just can't, pick and choose. You're just gonna piss a lot of people off. And already got some bad press. And not to say that these people are about the game anyway. But as you guys know, man, look, if you guys are Xbox all in like me, man, you guys know how it is. Right, when it comes to Microsoft, dude. Whatever. There's people that hate Xbox, hate Microsoft, just want this console to die. And then you have guys like us that are trying to stay in the trenches there and trying to keep this thing going. And I know I've talked about stuff feeling a certain way about Xbox and the moves that they're doing. Right, that all aside though, right? It doesn't help when you have to defend something that to me is undefensible. right? Again, if you believe in variety, if you believe in diversity, if you believe in choice, let people choose what they want across the board, man. That's why this DEI stuff has died. That's why it's failed, right? It's because it's faux diversity, man. It's not just diversity of color, right? It's not just about equality because you're trying to course correct history. At the end of the day, what it is, it's diversity of color, diversity of race. Well, if you're gonna have that, you have to have diversity of thought, right? And again, as you guys saw in the election, right, all these people were shocked, right, because you have minority groups, that came up and voted for Orange Man bad. And the news is telling you, no, that's impossible because he's a racist, Nazi piece of trash, and people of color are not going to vote for him. Well, at the end of the day, people of color have to eat too, right? People of color get paychecks, and they see that all their paycheck, half their paycheck is going to groceries, right? So that's what you have to deal with when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I'll bring it out. I'll do it, guys. I'll I will let you guys know. All right. So where are we? Yeah. So Marvel's. I have no hope for Marvel. Um, my kids saw what was it? Inside Out 2. So from what I've seen for Inside Out 2, I heard Moana 2 is pretty good. I don't have Disney Plus anymore. If my kids again, if they want to watch it and it's on sale on Xbox, I'll go pick it up. I picked up Inside Out 2 to watch it. I just haven't watched it yet. My kids talked about it. They said it was really good. They liked it. Especially for my daughter. My daughter didn't like the first. It's not that she didn't like the movie. She didn't like one of the characters in the movie. Right? That's when she was really young. So she saw it. She said it's a really good movie as well. So I'm gonna go check it out on their recommendation. But you can see it too because it's also being talked about online that they're coming out with content. Disney's course correcting and focusing on what they're supposed to be focusing on. He's making good, entertaining content, right? And again, this is another situation where they're getting knocked about the stuff they make because they're kind of limited because of the type of brand that they are, right? So it's like what like what people talk about Nintendo. Nintendo is Nintendo. Nintendo will do what Nintendo does, right? Because they have an audience and a brand. Disney is in that same boat. So, and I know they've tried to come out a little bit more, but when they started to do the whole LGBTQ thing, that was stupid. Because their main fan base is families, and I don't care what anybody says, dude. Just look at the numbers, man. A lot of people aren't down with that kind of stuff. And what ended up happening in these communities, they took people. They assumed because people weren't coming out against it that people supported it, and they found out really quick that that was not the case at all. And they found out big time in this last election. And this is why you see a lot of people now, like the media is panicking because they're like trying to bring all this stuff up, and it's not working anymore. Because number one, they have no credibility anymore. People understand the way that they are. They've been exposed, especially now. Um, and look, when they didn't change their tactics, just called everybody names, and then the people that used to support them actually switched sides, and they felt the brunt of that. Then they understood 100% what the media was all about, and so that's why they lack power, which is good. They shouldn't have had power anyway. They're supposed to be the fourth estate, dude. They're supposed to hold people accountable, but they're supposed to check their bias, and they never do. You can tell how they vote. You can tell who they like. They just wear it on their sleeve. This is one of the reasons why all these talk shows and stuff are dying. You have an audience that goes there, man, that just they just want to wallow in pity, right, and live in hate and stuff like that. And yeah, if you guys want to do that, fine. But everybody else is moving on at the end of the day, which I think is great. It's probably one of the greatest things about the election last year. But yeah, Marvel's gone. I have no hope for them. In fact, I'm on the boat of like I wish they would die. They need to, and then get people in there that can bring it back. If they can't get the people to bring it back, that's fine too. It just needs to die because it's just ruining the brand at this point. The farther away you get from phases 1, 2, and 3, the more people are beginning to see how bad the Marvel Cinematic Universe is. And there's people hanging on to hope. I feel you, man. I was in the same boat with Star Wars. I have more of a visceral connection with Star Wars. Um, but I was on that. I was like on the Titanic. I was one of the last to leave that sinking ship, man. But Star Wars to me is dead. Absolutely 100%. So dead that like EA came out with that one game. They came out the bounty one, and I like the other two games. Right? I mean, I didn't play the second one. I'll be honest. But the first game, and it was during that time though, where they were trying to diversify the Star Wars universe. Again, there's money involved, right? They want to capitalize on the brand and on the name. But if you're gonna do that, at least give me good content. And at least with the first Star Wars, I forget the name of the game. EA game that they did. That was kind of outside of the canon, right? It was part of the canon, but it was kind of outside. They crafted new characters and new story. To my knowledge, I don't know. I'm not too hardcore on the canon of Star Wars, but all I know is, dude, is they. It looks like they're on the right track, right? And then there's the second one that people love that I haven't played, and then the third one, though, the third one's just getting trashed left and right again because of what it seems to me to be ideology again, from what I read. Okay, everything that's going on online. Right. And you just can't come back from that, dude. I checked out, right, because after Mandalorian, dude, especially after season 3, right? There was some stuff in season 3 I was expecting them to do, but it's my understanding Favreau just stepped away, man, because he wasn't going to be able to do what he wanted to do, and he's had that problem with Disney. Man. I give him credit, dude. He still sticks around, right? He's a consummate creative at the end of the day, but man, some of the stuff they've done to him, dude. Then everybody shifted to oh boy, which I did like him, man. I love the Clone Wars, but his partner in crime, man. But that dude was full lefty, sucking up to Kathleen Kennedy crap, dude. And I'm like, dude, this is stupid. So once I saw all that stuff, I was like, I had to check out, dude. I couldn't stick around anymore, man. So I'm done with Star Wars. Marvel, been done with Marvel in a sense. I see people, but again, like I felt with Star Wars, man. Everybody's high on Robert Downey Jr. coming back. They're doing the Doomsday thing, but it looks like it's going to be another multiverse thing, dude. And if there's one thing Marvel could never do, they would touch on it when they use it as a place marker, when they use it as a book, like a bookmark, just something to push the narrative, the story, or make a quick course correction. The multiverse is fine. They've done some great stuff in the multiverse, but for the most part, their stuff is trash. When it comes to multiverse, I'm talking about the comics as well. And some might disagree, dude. That's my personal opinion, dude. I love the cosmic stuff, but for me, it's kind of like, that's not your forte, right? I was like I tell you guys all the time, but when it comes to Marvel, I wanted them to go cosmic, all in on cosmic, right? To the point where I wanted to see the cosmic universe as experienced, especially in the '70s, going into the '80s of the Marvel Comics universe, and we're not going to get that at all. And they basically kind of ruined it because of the stuff that they have done. And that's why I think, for me personally, Marvel is dead, and we need it to die. Like just for the simple fact that they just can't create all this crap. Because like right now, man, it's almost irreversible, the damage that they're doing to the brand. Because already, dude, let's be honest, man, they're over 10+ anniversary. They had a really great run. I mean, they shouldn't have been able to be at the level that they attained, and they did. Like they did all the heavy lifting already, man. All they had to do was ensure the legacy, right? And they've ruined it, and they continue to ruin it. I mean, for me personally, it's ruined. For other people, there's still people hanging on. So, I mean, if you can appease these people, these are the ones that you need to appease that are still hanging on right now. Because they, if you do that to them, then they can help bring the people back, or try to bring the people back, man. Because they'll generate the buzz that's needed, right? But again, from what I see, Falcon and the Captain America: Brave New World, dude, there's people. Some of the stuff, and I'm not just talking about critic reviews. So, like I said, that's full circle, man. Because critics hated Marvel Cinematic Universe when it first started off. It's like we've come back around, So I think it's funny now seeing and I know there's people out there reviewing the movie that still hated Marvel, and this is their big opportunity. That's what I talk about with Xbox, dude. You have your haters out there just waiting for you guys to drop the ball, right? And so for Marvel, what they need to do, man, they need to course correct because there's fans still holding on. And if you do, and you give the fans what they want, dude, they'll try and turn it around. They'll generate again the buzz and all that stuff needed for you to get the franchise back on course, but or get the brand back on course, man. I just don't see it happening, man. I'm not negative, right? At the end of the day, but it doesn't affect me, man. I stepped away. I'm just thank God I don't have to spend any money going watching Brave New World. Wasting not just my money but my time, right? When I could be playing I've been rewatching Solo Leveling because I love that anime so much, and then we got a new episode dropping today, and so I'm gonna enjoy it, man. Enjoy every moment of it as much as I can, right? So there's stuff that I can put my time and energy in that I enjoy instead of wasting my time with stuff that I don't, right? But like I said, guys, I'll give you guys the full workover when it comes to about. I'll do that later. What do we got now? Oh yeah, so I feel like the need to talk about this, man, and this is all because of the politics of everything, right? There was Comicsgate. I don't know if you guys know what was going on with there, dude. This is when when comic book fans was warring with comic book artists, with their companies, with the media that covers comic books, right? That was a big thing, and it was. And I was in there. That was me. I was heavily into that kind of stuff. Um, Comic book industry dying. Now I find myself on the manga anime side of the ropes, or of the tracks, I should say. Which I love, dude. I'm absolutely loving, dude. And I'm watching more content from Southeast Asia, from Korea, from Japan, even crossing over to some stuff in Europe that they're doing a good job. Indie's making a good comeback, man. I highly suggest you guys start checking into A24 Studios. It's been something that I've been looking at for the last couple of years, just because they made movies that I found kind of profound. Some of the stuff they make is not my cup of tea, but I love the variety. It's kind of like Game Pass, if I'm being honest, right? You have some games that you might not like, but there's games in there that other people might like. And why that's important, because it brings everybody to the table, and it allows, like in the case of Game Pass, to make the content that they want to make, and to give people the content that they want, so everybody can be happy, and at the same time make a little money on the side. So that's kind of what I see with studios like A24, Way Out West, these smaller studios, these indies. If in times of trouble in these industries, man, when the big studios or the multi-millionaires, or well, millionaires, when I was in the moguls, the big corporations, I'll put their finger in the socket, and is destroying the industry. It breeds the originality, um, the content, the stuff that's outside the box usually comes from the indie market, and the indie market is usually driven by fans of the genre, right? And they don't have to be the most hardcore fans. There's something they love, and they have a talent and an ability, and they bring that to market, and that's how this stuff has been able to survive. I don't know, man. It's a bit of an apocalypse right now. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Keeping my finger crossed that it is, but I like some of the stuff that I'm seeing. Not a big fan of a lot of the stuff that Apple's always made, but I thought they made some great content. Paramount definitely makes some content as a streaming service, a smaller, more focused, which is more on the artists and the content. But it's these small indie studios, man, that I'm enjoying. Right. My daughter had me watch this show called Thunder Force. It's on Crunchyroll, man, and this is a bit old. That's why I feel bad, because I didn't know this existed. She found it, but it was a circle. She's like I tell you guys, man, she's a creative. So she's looking at all this stuff, trying to consume as much as possible, which I do appreciate, that she does, because I think it'll help her later on when she tries to build her portfolio. And but it's a great show, man. It's a great show, and it uses puppets, right? But if you like old school or martial art movies, like how I grew up, kung fu theaters and stuff like that, dude, this show is definitely worth watching. Now I know it's on Crunchyroll. That's where I watch it, dude. I don't know if you guys have Crunchyroll subscription, but highly recommend you check that out. Just for the creativity, man, and that's what's missing in a lot of this stuff too. And then you got the onslaught of AI coming on. Later on, I'm going to do a video with JD Vance, man. He's the vice president, if you guys didn't know, and he addressed. I forgot where he was. I think it was in France, right? And he talked about it was the some kind of tech conference. And so he addressed the audience there. This thing went viral because it's probably one of the best. A lot of people don't know who JD Vance is. I knew of him. I don't know much about him. And of course, with the way we consume politics in our media, it's all focused around his ideology, his family, the fact that he's a white dude, and they're shocked, because they paint him as a hillbilly and a racist, that he would marry somebody, a person of color who's actually from India, right? So, that was the most funny thing about the election. A lot of the stuff that the media was pushing, man, they were just constantly getting shocked and awed, right? Because their narrative is if I'm being nice, dude, their narrative is misinformed. If I'm being honest, dude, they themselves, it was racist at the end of the day, man, because that's the world that they live in, and they can't. You live in that world for so long, dude. You can't tell. Like I said earlier, you can't tell what's racist, not non-racist, and stuff like. And again, once they're trying to push a narrative, man, all of that stuff goes out the window, right? It's about the narrative. It's about perception. It's about being able to control the narrative and stuff like that. So that's why a lot of times they're called hypocrites, because they'll look at one thing and complain about it, but then especially when it's on their side, right, they're doing the same thing. They don't say anything, right? So it's all politically driven. Anyway, point being, he addressed this audience in France. I'm gonna play the whole thing. I'm gonna react to it, because I'm gonna stop, pause. But this was an awesome speech, man, and he talked directly about innovation, and he talked about AI. In fact, I like the speech so much. I actually had my daughter watch it, because that's gonna affect her in the field that she's in. And I talked about it on this channel a little bit, but yeah, we'll be switching to that. But anyway, I got off of that other point, but I mean, look, I just wanted to shout out the people in the Gamergate movement. Comicsgate Especially, man, fought the good fight. It is what it is, man. People are moving on. And again, the comic book industry found out really quickly, man. It's like, look, you might feel a certain way, but you got to give the audience what they want. And if they aren't giving the audience what they want, um, and it shows, right? Because people have moved on to other things like I have, dude. I mean, I would rather, I've actually trained myself to read manga because I can't stand reading manga. Because manga is weird to me. The books I'm talking about, right? But what I do enjoy is anime. But because I love anime so much, I forced myself to read manga, and I'm beginning to. And I look, I know it's great. Again, it's just the way that they do it. Right? I'm used to having color. I'm used to not reading from back to front, like manga is all like that. That those stuffs, you know. But I'm working through that, right? And I picked up a couple books, like I showed you guys before. I have two of them on my desk right now. Kaiju number 8, which is absolutely awesome. And one of my all-time favorites, which is RPG of Blue Steel. And in the anime, they only did one season, so I know that there's multiple books. So I'm gonna get a complete story. And again, one thing I forgot, like all the things which I should have known because I'm a comic book guy, right? A lot of this stuff gets lost in translation. So I'm experiencing other aspects of these universes within the manga. So I'm appreciating that. So I only brought that up is because look, dude, I used to get my fix from comic books, man, and I gave up on comic books a long time ago, right? So, you know, but there's still shout out to the comic skates guys. You guys were right. It's unfortunate the industry suffered, right? And people have moved on, but it is what it is. Will it ever come back? I don't know. I know that there's other countries in the world right now going back to basics, bringing up some good stuff. I can't participate in it because, of course, I don't speak the language. But I see some people that are covering it. I see some of the work that they produce. It's awesome. And it reminds me of the old school stuff. And that's hopefully America will get back to that. I don't know though. We have so many things going on right now. Or some of this stuff might not even matter, man. I mean, you got things going on in the world right now. That's at flashpoint level, right? And a lot of people's man, look, the facade is dropping, dude. The people are starting to show who they really are, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to expose people, expose other countries and what they're doing. I know America bears the brunt of a lot of the stuff that's wrong in the world. I've never believed that. Have we made mistakes? Definitely. But are we the main focus of stuff? No. But one of the reasons or at least from my, I'll just give my perspective. It didn't bother me that they did that because you can actually use that as a strength as opposed to a weakness. Right? This is how you can use that to justify how we're involved in so many things in the world, which we need to be, guys. Don't get it twisted, man. I know a lot of people who are supposedly on the conservative side now are all about, they basically, when you listen to them talk, they're isolationists. You can't be an isolationist, especially if you're the biggest country in the world. That's not going to work, right? I say that all the time on this channel, dude. Power loves a vacuum. If you guys are going to do that, hey guys, am I missing stuff? I'm sorry, dude. I did the, I'm going to shut this podcast off. It's running fine. I should have shut it off earlier because I run the trouble of being on the wrong thing and I missed the comments. Oh no, okay, we're good. Julius was the last one to comment. Um, Power loves a vacuum, and if we don't do it, somebody else is. And like I said before, I trust ourselves over that because we have the control and we can course correct like we did in the election in November, right? And then I'm going to be talking about that as well because JD Vance also addressed the people in Cologne, Germany. I think they're in Cologne. I know they're in Germany. I think it's Cologne or maybe Brussels. No, is Brussels in Germany? Well, anyway, he was in Germany. And it was interesting because what he talked about, it was supposed to be a security conference, and he talked about censorship, which I thought was interesting. It was a great conversation, and he did some stuff in there that I really appreciated, right? Because I mean, if you're going to talk about censorship, right, you have to include the U.S. in that too, because the last 4 years we've been doing stuff that is antithetical to what we believe as far as a nation, as far as free speech and stuff. We're one of the biggest culprits of that, and he even addressed that. So that's why I'm going to do that video. I'm not going to talk about it now. We'll address it there. But getting back to it again, talked about comics. Great job, guys. We fought the good fight. It is what it is. So now we're going to wait to Gamergate, right? And I'm going to shout out everybody. I'll include myself in there, dude. I was there day one when all this stuff was kicking out. When everybody else just wanted to play their Grand Theft Autos and and console war on the level and do console war stuff on the level, which makes sense, right? It is a gaming thing, right? But behind the scenes, a lot of stuff that was going on that was political. And if you guys haven't been keeping up, again, I highly recommend you do. I know it's not for everybody, but just get in the highlights, and that's why I'm going to do these videos on my channel. If anything, you can try and get it here. There's a lot of stuff going on in politics, man, that was influencing all this stuff. If you guys don't know what USAID is, I definitely recommend you Bing it. If you're Google, you can Google it, right? Google seems to be turning over a new leaf over there, but and Bing, yo, Microsoft, dude, get your crap together, dude. It's the Gulf of America now, not the Gulf of Mexico, right? And the reason I'm telling you that, dude, is you have to read between the lines of why Trump is doing this. And I know Microsoft does, dude. I understand they have certain political leanings and stuff like this, but at the end of the day, you're Microsoft, you own Xbox, and I know you guys want to acquire stuff, and you guys want to do the power thing, and you guys want to push AI and your data farms and all this crap, right? And you're dealing with a certain administration which is very pro all of this stuff. Like, just do the right thing. Just make it Gulf of America, right? Let go of your little, however you guys feel about this kind of stuff. It's business at the end of the day. Right? There's reasons why he's doing that. It has nothing to do with just racism, right? Or just trying to dab a finger in Mexico's eye. Well, okay, that's true. That's true, right? Look, dude, these countries coming out. Like, Trump is trying to lay the foundation of, look, this is how it's going to be. U.S. dominance and stuff like that, and it's a soft dominance, dude. It's not anything. It's not like we're invading these countries and stuff like that, right? You know, at the end of the day. But some of these dudes been yapping. They've been yapping back, man, because they forgot that this is Trump. It's not Biden. Biden didn't give a crap. Biden wasn't even cognizant of this stuff, and most of the people under him agree with all this globalist worldwide. We are the world BS that we've been going through for the last 4 years. Borders matter, guys. Countries matter. Governments matter in that sense, right? We're citizens of the U.S., not of the world. And so, look, Microsoft, just get your crap together, dude. Just change it. Change it on Bing, right? I give you the benefit of the doubt because we know, as a Microsoft guy, as a person that uses your products, and as definitely as an Xbox guy, sometimes you guys are a little bit slow on the trigger. I'll give you guys that, but let's correct it. The whole thing, if you want to get, at the end of the day, it's really about the money, right? Your boy that was in there previously that most of you guys voted for, right? Sleepy Joe, right? He's gone. And when he was in office, dude, all of that stuff, he didn't know what was going on. But at the end of the day, dude, he did stuff, right? Before he left out of office, man, he was trying to handicap the current administration. And so that's why he said there's no drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, right? And so all Trump is doing is like, oh, well, but it's not the Gulf of Mexico. It's the Gulf of America. Ding, 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 ding. You get it? Yeah. Okay, you get it now? Right? Look, dude, I want cheap gas. I want costs to go down at the end of the day. That's what matters to me. So just look, dude, just do me a solid, man. Satya, dude, just get on that bad boy. Contact you guys over at Bing. Say, hey, yeah, change it to the Gulf of America. Because there's people that are not gonna accept it, whatever. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's all about controlling that. Because when all things go look, dude, all things considered, man, when stuff goes south, dude, we have to deal with it anyway. Okay? So why not get the bennies from that, dude? People are gonna believe whatever they want. You think people in Mexico are gonna call it Gulf of America? Maybe some, not most. People in the world say they're not gonna acknowledge it. Okay, well, fine. You don't have to acknowledge it, right? Whatever. But this is where we're going. So anyway, again, back to point my A, Microsoft. Just let's go get that Bing rolling, grow that Bing so that I can get more better rewards, right? And if you guys want to make some acquisitions, I think this will go a long way. You see what's happening with. If you guys don't know what's going on in New York, dude, I think Trump is having the Justice Department drop the charges against Mayor Adams, right? And if you've seen the tune that Mayor Adams is singing, especially with illegal immigration, all this stuff, dude, look, dude, all of this stuff is connected, right? And I'll try, like I said, I'll try and bring it on the channel, man. No problems. I'll try my best because this is why, like, spend a lot of time looking at this stuff, right? And so that's why I don't have the time to really talk about it as much as I do, like I am right now. But yeah, let's get that going, all right? So that so you guys can buy Sega or whatever you guys need to do to grow your Game Pass. Since you guys want to, save the industry, whatever, dude. Just give me untouchable right now, dude. Like I said, I'm gonna play Evolved. Still haven't finished Indiana Jones. When I get off the internet and I go turn on my Xbox, dude, it is everything on a bag of chips, man. It is everything that Microsoft says it's going to be, dude. There is none that can touch Xbox right now. Content, power, all of that stuff, services, ecosystem. It's all on Xbox, man. Right. So if you guys want to save the world, I'm fine with it, dude. Give me what I want. Appreciate that. And no complaints. like I said, when I step away from the console war stuff, man, I just go play my games. It's like Unlimited said, man. Unlimited talks about just play your games, and he's right. Just play your games, right? But yeah, just want to shout you guys out there that held the line. Again, USAID, go look it up, go bring it. They've come under fire by Doge, and this is why a lot of this stuff is coming out now of what they've been sponsoring, and it has ties directly into the media, right? So if you guys didn't know, USAID was that's one of the ways that the media was getting money, because a lot of times when you look at what the media does, right, and you look at their audience, dude, like any normal person, like this channel right here, I'm not monetized, and I don't need to be monetized. A lot of people don't watch my stuff. It's just me speaking onto the void, which I'm fine with, right? So I'm not a huge influencer. I'm not even really an influencer, if I'm being honest with you. It's just a dude kind of ranting like I am now. But there are people out there that are huge, that people do follow regularly. Some I like, some I don't. And I'm not them personally, but the content. I don't go that deep when it comes to influencers. But they have a certain pool, right? And some of these guys have a major pool, right? And I think it's funny is like when you look at the amount of engagement they get and how many people watch them and their subscribers, it far outnumbers anything that the mainstream media does. Right? There's a general populace that gets stuff from the mainstream media, but the way that stuff's being consumed right now, that dinosaur media is getting left behind. They're trying to course correct, but they can't because in course correcting, and I'm talking about the mainstream media, right? They have to enter another playing field, and on that playing field, they're no longer as powerful as they used to be because they used to control the media, right? Because the way that they used to funnel in their information, used to watch the news on TV, right? There were 3 channels at one time. Then cable news came around to add a little bit of variety, right? But they've dominated the information. But that's not the time we're in right now, guys, right? And that's a good thing. Right, you've given all the drama, all the stuff that's going on around the world. You know, that now what it is I rather have it this way because now the onus falls upon you as an individual to make the right choices or to search out and hunt the information. I would rather have it that way than stuff that's concocted in some laboratory somewhere to be force fed to me every day. That's why a lot of people stepped away from the news. They lost audience a long time ago. Now you have channels like mine that talk about this kind of stuff, give different perspective. I'm not saying you have to agree with me. Most of you disagree with me. I know that much, right? But it is what it is. So what you can do though is it's up to you now, right? And it's you're in the driver's seat. You're in control. Now that comes with a lot of baggage and stuff like that, right? Because now you have to do the research yourself, have to do the heavy lifting. You have to understand who to trust and who not to trust. The great thing about a lot of this stuff, dude, is there are absolutes in the world. That when ideologies or thought processes or even beliefs come across absolutes, that's when the test begins. That's when they get tested, right? And when they get tested, that's when you can see. So keeping an open mind and looking at things as honestly as possible, checking your bias is very important, especially if you want to go down this road, right? And that's something that the media lost a long time ago. They have no credibility. They've lost that credibility. Right, and you don't need them anymore, right? Like I said, there's people on here. There's people on here that talk about specific things that has nothing to do with politics and news, but because politics is infused in everything, right? These guys do these videos talking about stuff. Asman Gold, man, I never really watched. I watched him a couple times for specific things, and I know he has his fingers in a few stuff specifically. But anymore, I see his videos pop up on YouTube, and it's because I'm politically charged. He's talking about politics. He's actually covering all these press conferences and stuff like that. Dude, and for me, I always thought of him as like a gamer guy. He talks about gaming stuff. When I was looking at stuff when trying to gauge some of Microsoft's showcases, right? I go outside the grain, outside the box, or go against the grain, go outside the look outside the box, right, and then see what the general populace is saying. Right? That's why when I talk about certain things, you get an idea of what people are talking about, and then it helps me as an Xbox guy because I can understand. Look, dude, these people are just talking about, it's one thing to have an opinion on something, it's something to just parrot the narrative, right? A lot of people do that when it comes to Xbox. And I think it's important as Xbox people that you understand that. So you know how to approach a lot of this stuff, right? This is why I don't flip-flop on Xbox, right? I know what I like. I know what they provide me. I'm very honest with myself about it. And they've never given me anything except for the whole thing, like I talked about, my pet peeve about putting their games on PlayStation. That's one of my pet peeves. But outside of that, all the other stuff, dude, they're batting 1,000 for me personally. But if you know that about yourself, or you can look at things honestly like that, then you can avoid a lot of this stuff. Where you had guys that were Xbox guys and they flipped over to the PlayStation dude, which to me makes no sense. Like to me, if I actually was done with Xbox, I just walk away from gaming. Why would I go to a system that provides nothing, right? Or support companies that don't give me what I want, right? Just if you're being logical about it, right? It doesn't make any sense, right? And a lot of it has to do with a lot of emotions and feelings, and I don't like to be that guy. Look, we all have our reactions and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, dude, I would rather rely on reasoning and principle. That's me personally. But getting back to Gamergate, man, that's what you're seeing is the mainstream media was accepting money, man, from the government, and that dude, that see, so basically, that's propaganda at the end of the day, right? And they're pushing all these narratives, and now you know why, because it's coming from a specific, it's coming from the government, which is strike one, right? So already you have a conflict of interest, right? Also, you can look at probably quid pro quo. What are these guys getting from this? But you also know that the media, right, has a certain political bent, which pisses me off even more because you didn't actually have to pay them, right? Right? Or at least pay them like the 9 million that these people are getting, right? Because basically they're using that money to keep themselves afloat. Because my point originally being is that there's influencers that are so big that most people get their information from them. It's one of the reasons that shifted the election, right? And shout out to Trump's account for realizing that, right? In fact, I forgot who it was, but they made this great comment. Um, a lot of the stuff in the media is how Trump doesn't have the female vote, or the what we call the wine moms vote, right? Is the liberal moms that live in the suburbs who have these really good lives, so they have the time to concern themselves about stuff like is world events or political issues that they have no clue about, but since they have the time to consume it, they usually consume it from one special, certain points of view, certain outlets and stuff like that. Maybe, like these are the people that watch the View. All of you guys that wonder how the View stays on the channel, which they might have to dig into that as well. But my point being is right that was a concern, right? And of course, this is coming from the media, so take everything you see with it. So, in fact, don't take anything. Just don't believe these people because they're just honest all the time. They're constantly wrong, right? But they're saying, well, he's going to lose because he doesn't have the female vote. There's more people out there besides the female vote, right? And the reason they think that way is they don't think anybody who's a minority would vote for Trump because he's a racist, right? It's that type of mindset and mentality, right? That they get caught up in, right? That they can't tell fact from fiction, right? And it costs them. It costs them dearly, man. People are getting fired now. People are getting laid off, right? Because they believe their own BS. Right? Because at the end of the day, nobody's watching them. Again, people would rather watch influencers. One of those biggest influencers, Joe Rogan, right? So again, getting back to my point, what Trump was saying was like, well, we might have lost the wine moms, but we'll get their sons, and that's what ended up happening, right? Right? And they were smart enough to know that. And he killed another trope from 2016, like when everybody was going against the Electoral College. Right? And the thing that gets me is like people don't understand how the Electoral College works and why it is important. Right? And a lot of people were 2016, we just need to get the popular vote. Well, in 2024, he won both. So that kind of kills that narrative. Right? But again, when you have the media pushing this kind of stuff, now we're finding out that they're getting paid to push this kind of stuff. Right? And so this justifies a lot of the stuff that's going on because what's coming up is the money that's being paid and where that money was going. And one of the places it was going was to the media to use stuff like gaming to push narratives and gaming media to push narratives. Again, if you're wondering to yourself, like why all of a sudden LGBTQ, gay, all this stuff is so popular, right? And of course, look, they have their supporters, even though it's a small minority of people, very small minority of the population, right, that are LGBTQ, gay, and all this kind of stuff, right? But then they have their allies, right, that associate with them as well. But still, even on that scale, right, you wonder too, how does this stuff influence so much? Well, now you know, dude. There's corporations involved, big businesses involved. These guys try to monetize all this kind of stuff, which I find ironic, right? Because usually on the left side of things, it's about big evil greedy corporations, and the big evil greedy corporations. Not saying all of them, right? Some of them are true believers. Right? I tell you, man, we're Xbox, right? You know, on Microsoft, right? What they do all the time, right? In certain times of the year, in certain months. Right? Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily bad, but I'm just saying, right? I will say that Microsoft is one of those companies that believes in that stuff, right? But a lot of the other companies didn't do. They were doing it because it was a popular thing to do. They were doing it because they were afraid of getting blacklisted. They were afraid of losing. What is it? If like your competitor is going to do that, then you jump on board too, because these dudes are very active, right? I'm talking people in these communities are very active. They have a huge microphone, right? and they make themselves louder than they have to be. Well, unfortunate for them, you have a bigger bully in the White House right now. that when you try and punch him, he's gonna punch back twice as hard. And if you try and come back, he's gonna come back twice as hard. And you see it happening right now, which I think is a good thing too. We need to get away from this stuff at the end of the day. Dude, when I put on my video game, I just want to play my video game. Now, if you want to make a video game with a certain type of topic and stuff like that, I have no problem with that. But just stop trying to force it down my throat. And again, fairness to Microsoft, dude, they've been pretty good about that, and an Xbox, right? I don't agree with with the lifestyle and stuff that people do, but at the end of the day, like I've decided to keep my Xbox All In title instead of going Sega Forever. Just out of respect for Microsoft and Xbox. They've never given me. And look, I know I'm a small channel, but even I've never had a problem with them, and they've never tried to silence me. And I think that's a credit to them, right? Even though they have certain beliefs that are probably, and I'm pretty sure they don't agree with me on the stuff that I believe. I've never had a problem with my account. I try and conduct myself accordingly, but I don't go on there online, dude, and start sparking stuff and go against the rules. So, but that's number one. That's just not me. It's not that it's hard for me not to do it because I don't do that anyway. So it is what it is. But I've never had any issue with Microsoft about some of the stuff I talk about. So I'll keep it, man. Xbox on, and plus I did decide I was like, dude, if I lose this handle, somebody might grab it, right? So that I also had that, I had a moment of clarity. So I'm gonna stick with it, and I'm not going anywhere as far as Xbox guys. I probably won't be covering Xbox as much anymore, is because, or I haven't been covering Xbox as much because there's other things that I'm involved in that I'm going to bring to this channel. But also, it's been kind of quiet, dude. It's been a time for us to play our games, and then the news that does come on Xbox is usually negative, and I'm not going to focus on that because it's not negative as it affects me negatively, but just how the media is. Right? They just had one of the biggest showcases. I think they shot themselves in the foot when Phil started talking about putting games everywhere. Wasn't happy about that, but for the most part, right, it just gives people reasons to hate on Xbox, and I don't want to deal with that anymore, guys. Right? It's just there's so much more other things I could be doing, like what I'm going to do now and play Evolve. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks, Julius, for being here. Toolman, thanks for stopping in. I know, again, people have in and out. Again, the content here is very different from what you guys are normally used to on my channel. I get it, dude, but thank you guys for letting me my sounding board here on my channel. A lot more to come this week. Probably not the best week for you if you're not politically charged, because it's going to come full force, man. I got some time. I'm going to be able to catch up with something. In fact, probably in a little later. Like I said, I'm going to go play some Evolve, see how it is, give you guys my thoughts. And then also I'm going to, and I might do a podcast over that, bring the guys in and see what they think. I know Unlimited Production did a live stream. I was not able to watch it because I want to give it my full attention. That's the problem a lot of times, guys. I'm listening on the go when I'm listening to people's content. But I'm definitely going to give you guys my thoughts on Evolve. And then I'm going to come back and hit you guys with some JD Vance. Really impressed with him. And he's been stirring up the whole that I didn't, dude, I've learned not to underestimate anything that Trump does and his cabinet's going to do. Though I am a bit surprised. If you didn't know, Pete Hegseth, who's the Secretary of Defense, is also overseas talking about stuff, man. He's talking directly to NATO. And they're putting these people on notice, man. And look, the world has changed from when I was younger, man. The reasons we did certain things, and I'll discuss it more in depth more in detail in the other channel or any other on my other video that I'll do, because it warrants discussion, right? Because a lot of the stuff now, especially coming off the Cold War, things are changing, and I get that, right? I still adhere to a lot of the stuff with the Cold War time period, but even I, as a proponent of stuff like that, understand that the tides are changing and we have to be fluid. Hopefully, we're not a little too fluid, and we'll get into it in these other videos. But been actually ultra surprised. I shouldn't say ultra surprised. I knew he would move fast. I just didn't know Trump was going to be moving this fast, dude. His 100-day thing is that's what he's moving on. So if you guys didn't know what that is, right? So there's 100 days that every president is given. He's going to address the nation. So like the first 100 days. And I know when he does that first 100 days, he wants things in place that he wants to address the American people directly. That's going to be a big presidential. That's a very when he talks to the nation. That's his first time he's going to talk. It's going to be big. It's a big event, and he wants to have stuff to present. Right? He's like people accuse him of being a businessman. He definitely is, dude. Look, he's just like he's the head of the corporation. He's got all his CEOs out there doing their thing, right? Doing it out there, and he's gonna have them report to him. And I'm pretty sure you guys watched The Apprentice, man. I'm pretty sure things don't go the way he wants, and some of these people will be gone. But it's also smart of him to get people that are on board with his vision. That's the difference between him and 2024 and 2016. He had people that were knowledgeable, people that supported him during the election, but when it came down to actually implementing his plan, that's where everything fell apart. Right? And then he found out really quick like how bad things are in Washington. That's why you see him doing the things he's doing now, and he's moving at warp speed to get this stuff done. Again, most presidents, when they look at the presidency, they look at a 2 year. In any president's first time, it's always the first 2 years, right? Because at the end of the 2 years, you have a midterm, and that's when the reins of power usually shift. Not in the presidency, but usually in Congress and Senate. And so he's not even taking any chances. So, I mean, look, dude, I mean, it's been, what, a month now? If I'm being correct, right? 5th, he took over. So a little over a month. And again, he's moving at warp speed. That where people, even myself, it feels like it's been a year already. There's so much stuff that they're getting done. Right. And he has to do that, man. I mean, he's keeping his opponents on their toes. He's actually keeping them off balance, man. It's just been a just nonstop blitz on what he's been doing politically, and he's attacking on all fronts. This is why it's hard for his detractors, man, to, especially on the opposite side, on the opposite end of the aisle, which is kind of sad. You would think, there's a lot of things that President Trump is doing that's beneficial for the country, and obviously it's beginning to show already. Right, but then you just have an opposition side that's just an opposition side. You know what I mean? There's some on the Democratic side that are beginning to see, and they're acting accordingly, but that's very rare. It's all about party lines, man. This is why all this stuff needs to be destroyed. For me personally, man, I don't think they should reform some of the stuff. They should end it and not give that opportunity for it to be abused again. Because again, like usually the reins of power switches, and look, Trump is an original, man. Even if the Republicans hold the presidency next election, there is no other Donald Trump. As you guys can see, whether you're pro or con against him, there's not another person like him that can do the things that he's doing, right? And at the end of the day, that's what it's going to boil down to, man. Are you going to be able to carry on the legacy? Like for me, the tariff things that he likes to do, like there's nobody that can do it like he does, right? That's not just weaponizing, dude. He knows how to use it, right? It's like you can give somebody the Infinity Gauntlet, but if they don't know how to use it, then what's the point? You can have all that power, but you don't know how to use the power, or respect or understand that power, right? Which is really important. But with the tariff stuff, man, it's something he wields, and it's something that's used as a bargaining chip, man. I look at the GOP, and there's nobody that can do that. If the GOP holds presidential, and even though we have some great candidates that can carry on, right? But again, another problem too, he's not a politician. So all of this stuff, we'll see what happens, right? There's a lot to be gleaned off of that, but at the end of the day, when it comes to this channel, I'll try and provide as much as I possibly can. All right. But anyway, let me go play a dog, guys. Xbox Online channel. Hold safe forever. We out.